If you're new here, hi, I'm Jonah, the host of Moving Women Forward community podcast, with my mission to help 100 women in 100 days move from feeling stuck to empowered, amplifying their voices through expert-led support, visibility opportunities, and meaningful networking. Now sit back, grab your cup of coffee or your favorite drink, and be inspired to move forward in life and in business with our next episode. Hi everybody, this is Jonah with another episode of Season 2, Episode 7 of Moving Women Forward podcast series. We are a community platform. Our mission is very simple: to help 100 women in 100 days move from feeling stuck to empowered, amplifying their voices through expert-led support, visibility opportunities, and meaningful networking. Today we have a special guest. We have Kat Saunders, a conscious leadership specialist, a well-being expert who brings a fresh, grounded perspective on what it means to create impact without losing yourself. So, Kat, I will give the floor to you to give us introduction of who you are, what you do, and tell us what inspires you and why you're doing what you're doing. Thank you so much for being a special guest today.
Hi, so I'm Kat. I'm a South African. I'm living in London. My background's all about high achievement, high performance, and high pressure. So I know what it's like when your body and your mind have said it's enough, even when you tell yourself to keep on pushing through. So I spent over a decade in investment banking. And from the outside, it looked as though I was thriving, but actually internally, I was only really just surviving and make myself more disconnected from my own intuition and my values. In 2015, I started my journey on learning more about human behavior and energy and quantum medicines. So now my programs are based on my experience of conscious leadership and how it starts from within. Which means learning to regulate your own nervous system, kind of rewrite your belief systems and reconnect with your own internal compass. So whether I work kind of one-on-one or in guiding teams, I help clients decode their inner world so it can help when they lead, create, and relate from a place of deeper alignment. Because kind of when your energy is clear, then your decisions are cleaner, your boundaries are stronger, and your results are often more sustainable.
So you talk about how leadership, conscious leadership actually, practices can not only protect our well-being, but also make us more visible. So one of the themes that we discuss in the community is how to be more visible, how to be more confident with our visibility, and how to convey the message and amplify the message to support others. Now, I want to understand from your point of view, what are the early signs when we feel out of alignment? How can we recognize those signs?
When we're talking out of alignment, you have to know what in alignment is first. So we'll start with that. So when we are born, there is a natural tendency towards, we have certain things, certain personality traits, how we almost think, what makes us a little bit different. And then as we grow, then the nurture comes in and we create core belief systems that make us feel safe and connected to our families. And then as we grow, we take on masks and become more of who we think we should be because of our connections with friends, and kind of perpetuates as we go on. And these beliefs and these masks are actually rooted in our subconscious. And then our subconscious controls up to 90% of what we actually do in a day without us even knowing it. So when you're in alignment, it means your natural energy plus your subconscious is both working together in creating what you are actively doing from your consciousness or your conscious state. So being out of alignment then means that there's something that is within you that's actually stopping you being able to create what you are actually looking towards consciously. So I suppose giving you a simple example from being out of alignment. If you want to earn more money, but then as a child, you have this belief system that as a woman, you should never earn more than your husband. You'll actively create from your subconscious a blocker because your subconscious always wants you to be safe. And that is the framing that it has created, that you are safe in your belief that as the woman, you must never earn more than your husband. So you will, from a conscious aspect, then you become very frustrated, you stress points that are within you because you aren't able to create what you want because your subconscious is blocking you. So the easiest way to find when you're out of alignment, because there are many signs, they can be physical, mental, emotional signs, is actually to take it out of our heads, because we are so preconditioned to thinking about solutions that we forget to feel into them. So the easiest way is to usually close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, drop into your heart center, and then start to notice aches, pains, difficulty in different parts of your breath. If you start having reoccurring things that start happening, if you have emotions that just seem to stick for a while, like anger, irritability, you've also got things that if you are creatively stuck or you can't think clearly around certain subjects, there might be some blockers that are actually coming through that you are out of alignment in kind of the aspects of your life. So that it shows up differently for everyone in how they perceive the out of alignment, and it's where people hold their stress from.
Would you rather advise that we look out for those signs? So I know they might be there, but we don't know if they're there. We don't realize until we see something.
So you'll mostly find the stress signals in your body. So it's usually you go through a cycle of stress, and most people have acute stress to get them through certain periods of their lives or certain instances. When you start having those reoccurring and it becomes chronic, it's often a little bit more difficult to notice them, but those are usually the stress points that are the out of alignment. And a lot of people notice it. Shoulder pain, back pain, and a common theme for women is they hold their stress in their digestive systems and in their stomachs. So as soon as those stop functioning properly, it does often relate to an out of alignment and a stress pattern that has started to occur.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kat. So we want to help women move forward. So we want them to lead with purpose, have clear ideas, ideally have a strategy in place for whatever they are working on. This can be a self-care, this can be anything business related or even family related. Now I want to understand a little bit what helped you shift from performing and burned out. I'm not sure that's the right word in this case. Perhaps you didn't have a burnout, but similar to the burnout, to lead with purpose, to perform and lead with purpose.
So I suppose for me, I had to take a huge step back when I was very close to emotional burnout. I had 2 young kids, and I felt like I was not being the best mum that I could be for them. I was often very distracted and very irritable. And I have strong values and belief systems in connection and family. So that became my main driving factor for making a big change in my life. I suppose when I was growing up, I was exposed to a lot of alternative medicine. So that was kind of my starting point from that. And then I also decided to invest in a very amazing coach. And together, those started to help me move forward. And ultimately, it was kind of learning about myself, learning about what were my triggers, learning about my belief systems and how to clear them so that I could move forward. And it is a long process, and working with different people, it's actually, I wanted the results faster. And that was all about, I mean, everyone can do things in their own time, and just working with someone was just kind of condensing the time factor.
Wonderful. So yes, we want everything. We want results at the minute. We want them. We want to see transformation in a day. But I want to understand a little bit how can this transformation, so how this conscious leadership practice, like we are consciously doing something. We know that we want to do that. So we're actioning. How can this help us not only stay visible but build a presence actually, so we are able to convey our message, so help others in this case with our own journey?
Definitely. So I suppose I believe it starts that you have to lead from within yourself. kind of an inside-out approach. So who you are, what drives you, what are your limiting beliefs, what is your energy capability and capacity. So if you know what you need and how to change what you don't want in your life, then you are able to nourish and sustain yourself instinctively. And if you're able to create this own safety from within, then you'll be happy being visible and showing up in your own truth and creating this ripple effect that will be able to help others just by you standing in your own power by knowing yourself.
But we are also a lot bombarded with information, and there's so much pressure when we see things online. We compare ourselves to other, let's say, business owners in this case, because we're talking a little bit about business in this session. So how can this our purpose-led mission help us by being conscious of what is happening and how it is happening and what affects us, basically?
So I suppose from your, if your purpose-led mission and you are clear about who you are, your why, what you're able to do with your own energy, your own time, and what subconscious blockers are maybe playing against that. So if you understand who you are and how those things show up in your life, it is easier to navigate, to be kind of more fully yourself, and that will kind of the ripple effect move out into everything that you do.
That is helpful very much. Kat, do you have any myth that you want to bust today? Yes, within the conscious leadership and leading with purpose in everything we do.
Well, I mean, there's the general ones of working harder, working longer, being more focused. Sometimes those are just creating more spin instead of rather looking inward for your answers.
I think this also will tie up with one of the questions, actually. What is the one step women, because we're talking about women in our community. So what is one first step women can take today to be more purposeful, more focused, or gain focus? It's seen sometimes as it's seen sometimes like a block within our productivity or within our whatever the thoughts are in regard. But I want to understand one step. What can be one step today?
Slow down. There is a huge amount of pressure that we put on ourselves as women, and whether it's as parents, as caregivers, as businesswomen, and we sometimes forget to actually be in the moment where we are focusing on what is that we are able to change at that exact point. So I think often slowing down does take a lot of conscious effort when you're with and also it is something that I know that has taken a lot of time for me to kind of work through, is being very compartmentalized of being at work. You are at work. When you're with kids, you're with kids, and you don't necessarily mix what you're thinking about in the different situations, because it does lead to kind of guilty for not spending your time focusing, and it does make you feel guilty for not spending your time focusing on work or with kids. And if you slow down and just appreciate the time for what it is when you need to have it, I think that would be probably one of the first steps.
I've had conversations with members. This has come up actually in one of the conversations, that founders who are not able actually to compartmentalize, to give some space. So say, okay, this is the reset time. This is dedicated for XYZ. Let's say family in this case, or kids, whoever doesn't have those, have, I don't know, any hobby or anything else. So I want to understand a little bit how conscious choices influence that, or unconscious choices, however you want to put it.
So, I suppose if somebody has trouble in compartmentalizing and kind of almost catching themselves in the pattern of if they are not, it's something that they would need to answer is why. Beliefs do they have that could possibly mean that they are kind of crossing over the thoughts of what is supposed to be family time and what is supposed to be kind of their work time. So for me, it was very simply not functioning 100% if I'm not focused on what I'm doing at that point. And that helped me break that cycle. Where somebody else, it could be a belief that if you're not thinking about it, it's not going to move forward as fast. But if you're only half thinking about it, then you might be moving forward in the wrong space.
Very helpful. Thank you very much. Kat, we're coming to an end almost. Are you running any workshops? Are you running any activities, or if you're planning?
At the moment, I do have a new program that is starting. As it's a 3-month coaching program with quite an extensive energy and quantum medicine to kind of pull through your deeper belief systems that don't come up as easily when we talk through them, or noticing the patterns of them. And so I'm working on that at the moment.
Very good. Will it be online or in person? How is this program?
And it is 1-to-1 and online, and it's over the course of 3 months.
Amazing. It's a great opportunity. I'm sure when you have a moment, you can drop the links here in the thread later on when you have the link, obviously, available, or more information. You are more than welcome to share in this thread in this space with the audience. I have the last question, actually, if that's okay. So we've spoken about women in this case. Do you feel that there is some sort of different beliefs when it comes to men? I know we are not supposed to do gender differentiations, but sometimes we have this in front of us. So I just want to understand if it's more of a women thing.
So I suppose the beliefs that we have as women are often inherently different from beliefs that you have as men. And part of it is how we've grown up, and what is our societal expectations of women and men as we're growing up, and what that looks like. And it is individual to everyone, but there is often a very big divide, even within families, of what the boys and the girls can do and what they're expected to do. So that creates kind of different stress points within their life, within people's lives. So it is not necessarily, everybody is completely different, but fundamentally kind of how we move through things is quite similar.
Thank you for this, Kat. The last question, for real, I promise this is the last one. It's not on the spot question, but I'd like to understand also, do you think this is also related a bit with backgrounds or cultural environment?
Well, yes, to certain degrees. So you have your energy that you have and your innate personality from when you're born. But the nurture aspect and the masks aspect of how you're growing up is very dependent on how your family is, how your culture is, how your community is as you're growing up, and what you need to be a part of it, and what your belief systems to make you feel safe. So each culture has different needs and different religions that usually come within it, and it's very vast.
We have a multi-ethnic group, so communities. So women are from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, as I said. This is very interesting approach. I want to really understand. This is not just, obviously, it depends on the person, as you mentioned, but I really think there is some sort of similarities based on the ethnicity.
Definitely. So, I mean, it's, one big thing that I've noticed, and it forms in different ways, is from a woman's aspect, we often have different things that our good girls are. And then that just slightly varies from person to person of what their family was like, what the community was like. And that sticks with us. And when we try to move out of that, it often has a bit of a sticking point. And it's trying to unravel that sticking point and what it is for us. So yes, yeah, it is. There is always some commonality. Everybody's individual and how they've perceived it and internalized it is individual.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that, definitely. But wanted to understand, because I think I've noticed some little bit of patterns here and there. Obviously, I'm not generalizing, but I noticed some differences and some similarities in groups of members in the community. Well, I think our time is up. Kat, do you want to share anything with us that will help the audience, or that you think that is relevant to the viewers and later on who is watching the replay?
I suppose parting words is that everything is all up to how you perceive it. So if you have got blockers, you can remove those. If you want to create something different, that is all within your power.
I think it is similar to the book I was reading a couple of weeks ago. It's The Courage to be Disliked. So yes, there is something in that. Yes. You make your own life, the life you choose, basically. So that is really helpful. Thank you so much for the conversation, Kat.
Well, thanks, Jonah.
We will see everybody. First of all, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week with another episode with another special guest. Saying thank you so much. Stay tuned, and I'll pop the link in the comments when the thread is out. The podcast thread actually is out. Thank you so much, Kat. Speak soon.